Yo, my name is Rexalis. Um, I'm a Masters top laner, and right now it's currently patch 12.18. The date is October 4th, 2022, and I'm sitting here with my good friend Babs.
Hello, I'm Babs. I'm a Masters mid laner. I've done a lot of coaching. I've played in competitive minor leagues quite a bit. Um, and I play mid lane primarily.
Yep. I've also played in a ton of amateur leagues. I've hit Grandmaster, I've peaked rank 1 Poppy World. Um, but all those accolades, they don't really mean much. It's just to give us, I guess, some kind of credibility for what we're talking about here. Um, but the topic at hand, what I just randomly called Babs and said that we should talk about while I record is, I guess, like the state of top lane currently. So, yesterday, I believe, Riot put out the preseason 13 preseason pre whatever the fuck, it doesn't matter. Preseason 13 changes that are coming to the game. Now, those includes like the ward timers. If you ping the ward within 10 seconds, the new jungle pathing laid out for people at the beginning of the game. Leash zones, or I don't know what the exact word is for that, but either way, I just realized I don't have any music playing, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. But that's pretty much the thing that I'm talking about. But in that whole list as well was top lane changes, and Riot had kind of put out statements and said before that, as well as looking into jungle, they're also going to be looking into top lane because top lane is um,
A problem role.
yeah, yeah, to say the least. It's not a role where, or it's frequently described as a role where psychopaths go to play the game, pretty much. So, but yeah, that's where we are. So, looking at these changes, we can see that their supposed top lane buff to help the lane would be to increase the XP by around 2%. I think the exact margin is like 2.2. But when I saw
Yeah,
this, oh, sorry, Babs, go.
yeah, it's like 2.49 or something, or
Yeah,
2.249 or something.
listen, it don't matter what it is, bro. It's a slap in the face, man. It really is. I I saw this and bro, I got heated because I copiumed myself into believing that they would actually change something and do something about the role. Because, in my opinion, the role has obviously many problems, and I'm biased. Don't get me wrong, I'm a top laner, and that's why I have a sort of unbiased person here with me.
I
That
used
can,
to off-roll top lane quote when it was a good role. Like 4 years ago, I played a lot of top lane. Um, and even then it was kind of like a damn, I either fucking snowball so hard that I carry, or I just rely on my team to do stuff.
yeah.
And I feel like that's just become more exacerbated as the years have gone on. And I feel like that's why top laners are like tired of basically getting fucked in the ass constantly by Riot.
Well, something that I believe it was, I'm gonna fuck up his name, but I think it was like Ray Yongi, um, that writer on the preseason 13 Reddit thread. He had mentioned in the comments that um, they know that these top lane changes aren't going to do much, but they should hopefully, you know, feel better or something. I completely forgot what I was trying to say, bro. Oh my god. But either way, they know that these changes aren't going to do much, and that's what it was. That they know that the top lane audience is kind of split into two. There's one half of top lane that wants and likes the pure 1v1 duke it out, take ignite every lane phase, and beat people down and just crush the enemy top laner into like ashes, just completely stomp on them. And then there's the other side of top lane, which is, I guess, what I like playing more as is, playing with my team, but just being like playing the same class of champions that are in top lane, but rather like playing with my team and getting to impact the map early and stuff like that. So that they admit that they know that there's two audiences like that, and they haven't put out a statement as far as like what they're going to do about it. They're just saying that they're still looking into it, which is corporate speak for, yeah, we don't know, bro. So, but it'd be what it'd be. But I guess the purpose of this is also to like, I guess I'll start off by um, saying my problems with top lane as a Masters top laner that plays the game like, frequently. I'd say the biggest problem, number one, is that counter picks matter too much. Like, there's so many times where, and it goes hand in hand with the second problem too. But there's so many times where I will want to play a top laner. Like, I want to queue up, and I get the feeling to play Camille today. So I really want to play Camille, and I'm good at Camille. I play Camille across both my accounts there in Masters, and I queue up. I ban whatever I want to ban. I probably a Camille counter like Jax or Fiora or something like that, and then I lock in Camille. However, there's just like this slew of champions that can counter Camille, and it feels as if like, because I picked Camille, I'm putting not only myself and my team at a disadvantage, because I'm just not going to do anything for the first, like, probably, most likely, like, 14 to 20 minutes of the game. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit there, get bullied, and try to catch farm and XP, simply because I, whatchamacallit, had the first pick. That's pretty much it. And the enemy top laner is just going to counter me. And so, that also ties into the second problem, which I believe is just not having enough impact on the map. Like, there's often times where I'm playing top lane with my amateur team or in solo queue, and I go 0-0-1 because my jungler tossed me a gank at level 3 or some shit. And it's like 14 minutes in the game. My team has like 20 plus KP. The enemy top is also like 0-0-1 or like 0-1-0, like something. And we're just like there. We can't kill each other because obviously we don't want to give a lead. Or like risk giving over a lead because, it can be disastrous. So we're just playing for scraps and just, just barely playing the game. Like, I'm autopilot because I can't do much. And yeah, there's argument of like, oh, row mid, stuff like that. But if I'm playing a champion like Camille, for example, that doesn't have a lot of wave clear, or even like Fiora early, then I don't have many options in that department. But those are, I'd say, are like my main two biggest gripes with the role. Babs, do you have anything other than those that you see like as a problem with top lane?
Well, I just want to say that, like, I think that these are both extremely complex issues, and we both understand that. This isn't something you're going to fix with, like, numbers changes or anything like that. Like, there's going to have to be, like, big system changes to fix some of these things. And I think some of them aren't even fixable. Like, I think the nature of counter picks in top lane, it's just always going to exist. You're going to have matchups that are unplayable. Like, even mid lane has some matchups that are like basically unplayable. And I mean, that's just how the game goes sometimes. So it just gets really rough when you're trying to look for ways to like make it so it feels less awful to play. And I think that's where you have to make the targeted changes. Because obviously champs are going to counter champs no matter what, but you have to look at like ways to make it so like snowballing isn't as harsh, I feel.
But also, that also lends to like the additional problem of like there are most champs that are like made to bully and harass and like put down the other like enemy laners are in top lane, and that's just the reality of it too. So you obviously don't want to completely remove that whole like and nerf that whole like class of champions like Renekton, like Darius, Garen even, because if those champions aren't strong, then you just get the Fiora, the Camille's, the Kales, like every game, just these hyper scaling top laners, Gangplank even. Well, Gangplank's a whole separate thing, but you get these champions that are just like so gross in scaling, and you just sit there isolated from the rest of the map and scaling. But like
there's like the trifecta in top lane, right? You have the champs that are scaling focused, the champs that are early game focused, and then you have like the champs that are like somewhere in the middle. And it's really hard when you have a role that's so diverse in playstyles to really find a balancing point. Because like obviously if you're playing like a tank, your strongest point is like your mid game. Like after you finish your mythic, like 1 to 2 items, because like you're gonna get outscaled by the scaling bruisers, and the aggressive bruisers are gonna like start to fall off in the mid game if they're not snowballed enough. So you have to find like that middle ground where people who want to play early game champs still feel like they can snowball their lane enough to where they can impact the map through their lead, where scaling champs still have the ability to pressure side lane even if they're behind, and tanks still have the ability to soak up damage and be a reliable front line if they're behind as well.
Yeah, and what you said about like just like finding that balance, that's just like so incredibly hard. And we have previously like sat down and like tried to think of something, and which we, or not we, Babs came up with something, because I couldn't come up with anything personally. He came up with this. I'm gonna throw it up right now. This is the supposed would this be to all, Babs, would this be to all lanes or just top lane?
Well, I think ideally this is top lane only. I don't think it affects mid very much because so for context, when you come to top lane, you have to reduce points of frustration, I feel. And one of the biggest points of frustration is being in a losing matchup and then just getting frozen on. Maybe not as much in low elo, but definitely in high elo at least, solo queue. Like people will just hold freeze on you for like 2 to 3 minutes at a time. And if your jungle doesn't come to help you, well, now you're out of the game. And you didn't even get to fight your laner. Like your game is just over before you even got to do anything. And I think that freezing in top lane is so punishing that your entire game can just end from it. It has to be something that's addressed, in my opinion. And I feel like what this does is it makes it so minions that are enemy minions that are closer to your turret deal more damage to your minions, so it's harder to freeze. Because obviously you're gonna have to soak more damage to hold the wave if you want to do a freeze, because your wave is gonna die faster. And I think that makes it so there's more actual like champion combat in the lane. So you can't just pick like, I don't know, you can't just pick a Camille and then play into, what's a good Camille matchup right now?
Bro.
Bro. But you know what I mean, like you can't just pick Olaf into like a fucking Ornn and then just freeze on the Ornn for 5 minutes. And the Ornn's like, well, I can't really walk up to the wave, because if I walk up to the wave, he just runs me down and kills me. At least with this, like the wave stays somewhat even, so the Ornn can at least soak XP and like at least kind of last hit with a little bit of safety. Whereas before this, the Olaf could just freeze at turret and the Ornn just doesn't get any XP or any gold, and he just feels like he can't play the game.
So did you describe in like detail of like what I guess each, because right now obviously they're just saying like a bunch of numbers on the screen. To I guess go into detail and what Bab's idea is like in this middle zone here where the 0% is, that means that the minions are unaffected and you know it's as normal. Where if you know, say we're blue side and we're pushing in, our minions get to the 10% mark right here. Our minions do 10% increased damage to the enemy minions, which obviously means that we push faster, we get it into turret faster. As soon as it hits the 20% mark, damage amp is increased. 30% mark, same thing, damage amp is increased to 30% against other minions. And I think maybe, did you say even the turret too?
No. So not the turret, because you don't want to make it so swift pushing champs just run away with like one wave.
True.
Like, if you have a Fiora and you're a tank and you leave lane for 30 seconds and she crashes a wave, she just like melts your turret and gets like 3 plates. So it would only be against other minions. It wouldn't be against champions either. Because obviously since your wave is dying faster, if you want to hold a freeze, you have to tank the wave anyways. You're going to take more damage for tanking it. And obviously, in the middle point where the wave is like relatively even, you don't want a damage amp, because you don't want waves to like automatically push. You still want there to be contesting over the wave from both sides. You can broaden or narrow these zones as you see fit. You can up or lower the damage numbers as you see fit. But I think like a marginal damage increase or a marginal push strength for your minions if you're near enemy turret is important to break freezes easier.
Yeah. That's, I guess, Babs's or our can't talk. Supposed change to help out top lane. As for like the negatives of this, to be honest with you, I don't really see any. I'm not gonna lie. It's like
The
this
negatives to
change.
this would be it's harder for champs that are snowballing to accrue a greater lead through freezing. That would be the downside.
I don't see there's a downside personally, but
Well,
actually,
yeah, but that's because like the upside is like negating the downside, right? Because the upside is you have less games where you feel like you can't play the game, which I
wouldn't
think
it?
is like
Hold on, wait a second. Wouldn't this also make it easier for you to get dove though? Technically, if you're.
technically yes, because the wave is pushing faster.
But I feel like if you're,
But
to be honest, I feel like if you're gonna get dove, you were gonna get dove anyways. Like,
yeah. Well, what this does do is it makes it harder for people to build up like multi-wave crashes because once it gets over like the 10% threshold, it's gonna start pushing faster anyways, right?
true.
It's like, so 3-wave crashes are like a lot more difficult with this, but like 1 and 2-wave dives are about the same because you're gonna be building up in the 0% threshold on 1 and 2-wave dives.
Okay, yeah, that's honestly I think that's fine because in the cases where you're gonna get dove, you're probably still gonna get dove with this. Like there's maybe a couple of cases where, you know, you get the wave in like faster before maybe your jungler or your support can roam up and respond to the dive. And
Yeah, but with time,
unfortunate.
people just get better at rotating, right? So
Yeah,
it's like a little bit of extra.
Yeah. But those are like I guess the problems I laid out with top lane. At least my biggest gripe with the lane, and our supposed solution to try and change that.
Now this won't fix everything, right? Obviously, like
it's a lot
top
more
laners are
complex
still
than
going to be
that.
unhappy, but I think this reduces like the biggest pain point of being a top laner, which is those games where you get counterpicked and then your laner just doesn't interact with you because they don't have to, and you're like,
Just
well,
by
now I
freezing,
have to
yeah.
roam, and as soon as you roam, it's like, okay, well now they're building up a slow push, and then you just get dove on the slow push. That happens so much, and it's so hard for top laners to do anything because they have to have other people in their lane helping them to fix that issue, right? But it's like if you're a jungler and your top laner is playing like Camille into Darius, it's like, bro, I'm not gonna go help the Camille lane.
That's
Like,
a
why am I gonna
2v1
go help
waiting to
the
happen.
Camille? Yeah. Like if I get my Camille ahead and then she just gives the Darius a shutdown, like the game's just fucking over.
Yeah, and then
Right?
also
So
like why play top lane when you can just go bottom and dragon stack and just win the game off dragon stacking, etc., etc. And ADCs are just stronger right now, anyways. So it just makes like all the sense in the world just to go bottom every game. But
yeah, but I mean that's not because ADCs are stronger. That's just because like win cons are more important in those other roles.
that's true, yeah.
So because like top lane isn't a win con, right? Top lane's like is a win con at like
It depends
1
on the
to 2
champ. I'd say
items.
like Fiora, you know, like Fiora Gangplank, even
These
like
champs can be win cons, but the problem is the role as a whole isn't a win con because
that's
there's a
true.
lot of champs in top lane that can be win cons but aren't the way that you like win games, right? Like Ornn can be a win con. Ornn can just get so tanky against like a full AD team that no one does damage to him. But like that's not, you don't want to go into a game and be like, okay, I'm picking Ornn here because if the game goes to 4 items, I become unkillable. Like that's not fun for anyone, in my opinion. I think most top laners would agree with that. I mean, unless you're like a tank player and like that's all you do is play top lane, but like then that's the problem of like the mixing identities, right?
Yeah.
You don't. I don't think even you want your role to be I do nothing until 4 items and then suddenly I'm
Fuck no.
unkillable.
Fuck no. But yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. But I'd say those are our gripes are supposed to change. And as for what Riot will do in the future, we don't know. Obviously, we're not writers. But hopefully they do something that isn't a 2% XP increase, because that just does nothing other than give you level 6 a wave earlier, and that's it. Like, you know,
a
like,
wave earlier if you soak
yeah.
every single minion, which means that if you get dove or zoned off your turret or have to recall, this buff does nothing.
So it does, yeah, so it does nothing. All right, yeah. But anyways, thank you for watching the video or taking the time to listen to it, whatever the case is. I don't know if I'll do something like this in the future. If I do, maybe I'll bring Babs back, because Babs is like, I talked to this dude about like everything league related. So, but yeah, other than that, have a good one. Peace out. Hopefully, Riot does
Oh,
something.
also, by the way,
Mhm.
for the 2 people that watch this video, actually, I would like a discussion in comments. I know it's cringy to ask for, but like, obviously, this doesn't fix all of the issues. I'd be curious to see what other people think.
That'd be dope.
And
Honestly, it'd be
propose
dope.
solutions.
It'd be dope if someone had like a great idea. There's some dude out there that's like an ADC main sitting on the grand idea to save top lane, but he just doesn't want to do it because it's gonna fuck his roll over. So, it'd be what it'd be. But anyways, leave a comment if you have an idea or you have any feedback to provide to us about our ideas or anything like that. Yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.
Take it easy.